This is a reading for Water Lily. She is asked if a recent relationship which faltered could be rekindled, and whether or not she should proceed to try and contact this person. We're going to use the Waite Tarot. Very popular deck, well known, great images, and it's really receptive. It's one of my favorite decks. So let's begin. Okay, the first card drawn is a card that represents you, and that is the Page of Cups. The second card, which crosses you, is the Four of Swords, and that is your current concern. Your past foundation is the Page of Wands. Recent past is the Two of Swords reversed. Your current situation is the Queen of Pentacles. Your near future card is a reversed Eight of Swords. The card that represents you and how you feel about yourself and your life is a reversed Ace of Wands. The card that represents how people see you, your friends, how you interact with them, how they view your life is a Seven of Staffs. Your goal card is the Three of Cups. And your outcome card, if you follow along this current path, is the Hierophant. Okay, the card that represents you, which is the Page of Cups, that represents somebody who has a seriousness about them. You can be lighthearted, and you can be very friendly, but overall, you are a serious individual. You don't take things for granted. What you do is you see how things are, and you make it a point to follow through with whatever it is that you're doing, especially when it's for someone else, because you think that there's an honor in that sort of thing, and so you're an honorable person. You're full of love, and you have a yearning. You'd really like to have things go your way, mostly because you've had some setbacks in the past. And I don't mean just this recent relationship, but something else ended that was a relationship that was more than just a partnership. It might have been a marriage. That's kind of how it feels. The card that's your concern, which is the Four of Swords, that represents a stalemate. And considering your question, I don't know exactly what went on between you two that was negative or that caused you to separate. And that's what I see, something that was a separation that was uncomfortable, maybe even a little bit painful. And the stalemate to me represents two personalities that really were more like oil and vinegar. They didn't really mesh. A good relationship you'll have someone um, who is on the right side. And I don't mean right as in correct side. I mean somebody who does things differently than the left side. So a good relationship requires two people who have differences that still can come together and match. And I see that this wasn't a match for you. Both of you were intrigued with each other, and there was an attraction between you, but there is a chemistry that came to a head, a chemical imbalance, I guess, is what you might say. And that was because there are some things where you're both very much alike, and since you're both very much alike, there's a clash. Whereas if you were quite opposite, there would be a meshing. I know that's hard for people to understand sometimes, but there's a term called opposites attract, and there's a reason for that, and I think it has a lot to do with polarity among spirits. Well, I have a cat who wants to come in and join us. Anyway, you're concerned about coming back together in that relationship. But let me get back to this after I read through the rest of your cards, and we'll discuss that a little bit further. Your foundation card, which is the Page of Wands, you're a very honest person and good-natured, honorable, as I mentioned before. And part of that was the way that you were raised. You were raised to respect and to tell the truth and to be open, although you have had some difficulties with that. Openness and shyness, in a way, that's a problem that you've had. You can be forward at times, but you hesitate. And from your foundational background, from your childhood, from what I see, I would see somebody who was not necessarily an only child, but somebody who was a favorite child. Somebody who was told that they could do no wrong, basically. And although it was good intent, as you grew, I see that when you did do things wrong and there were repercussions, you didn't quite understand what that was about, because that's not your experience from your young life, from your learning. Sometimes praise, and making a child feel very special and giving them the benefit of the doubt all the time can be confusing to that person when they actually get into the real world and find out that there are repercussions for errors. You know, even unintentional errors can come back at you and be a problem. And for you, that caused some shyness. I don't know if it was in school or in friend relationships, but there was a point in there somewhere where you had a bad experience, and forever after you hesitated and didn't make the move forward at times when you really could have. That's how I see this shyness that developed, and you may have overcome that by now. But innately, deep inside you, you still have that hesitation. Your recent past, which is the Two of Swords, and that's reversed. That's a card of inequality, I guess is what you'd call it. You sometimes can make trouble, and the inequality of it is that you see that and you fight it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good thing to be able to do. There's a lot of people who just let things slide, but you actually act upon that. And so the inequality, I'm thinking, may have had something to do with this relationship that broke down. It had a breakdown of some sort. And it's possible that you moved forward and he had some boundaries. And so if you overstep those boundaries, then he may have pulled back for that reason. And in response, you may have felt offensed. You might have been crushed in a way. And whether or not you spoke out about it or retorted to whatever the situation was, that's where I see the possible clash and maybe a breakup. Your current situation, which is the Queen of Pentacles, the Queen wants a secure life. The Queen believes in responsibility. So that would be you, in that you have a search for a relationship of permanence. But it has to be a relationship, of course, that has give and take, because that equality that you believe in, that's what it requires for you. You can't have a one-sided relationship, and you shouldn't. No one really should, but there are people who make that mistake. So your current situation is that you see the error of what happened between you, and maybe you see a little bit past the inequality thing and that it could be corrected, especially if you could actually talk with this young man. Well, not young man, but this person that you had the relationship with, and maybe work those things out. However, you're hesitating, and that's because you're uncertain. You have a shyness about you, although you keep thinking, I should, I really should. I don't know why he isn't, why he hasn't made the step. As I mentioned, there's a possibility that you did overstep a boundary that he had. And of course, there was an overreaction. That's the way I see it, from what the cards say and from the feelings that I'm getting, is that there was an overreaction. Feelings were hurt. In fact, there was anger, whether the anger was shown so much as the hurt was shown. And he probably is the kind of person who vents and then that's it. It's just kind of a block, you know. I don't want to deal with this. And because you, I think, were more emotionally involved, or you were at a step further than he was, this not only confused you, but it angered you too. Whether or not you can overcome that, I'm not sure. Let's look a little bit further. Your near future, which is the Seven of Swords reversed. That represents you haven't finished what you started, and it's going to take some courage to do that. So this kind of aligns with what you are hoping might happen, with the steps you think you might want to take to try and contact the person that was a friend to you that you were developing a relationship with. And I see this as a go ahead and do it. If this card had been upright, the Seven of Swords typically is don't take what isn't yours. In other words, this doesn't belong to you, it's not something you should be trying for. But being reversed, it's saying there is a possibility that this is for you. Whatever mistakes were made may be correctable. You might want to take that step. You might want to contact him. My intuition says that if you do, you may want to start with an apology. Not so much an apology for your part, but an apology for not contacting him and talking to him and reviving that friendship. And if you bring it to him and that you miss that friendship rather than the relationship, that may open a door for you. I would start slow. If he allows you in, even though he has the boundaries, he may allow you back in. I would develop that friendship and not go far very fast, but make it a fun, interesting relationship, and open, very, very open. Do not pressure in any way. You may have a very strong attraction to this young man, this person who I think you may really feel a love for, or a loss of love. But this person may not be quite as ready for a commitment as you are or you were. If a commitment was discussed at all, it was probably a little bit more on your part than on his. And that's a natural progression in a relationship, as long as it doesn't go too fast. Whatever it was that caused the problem to begin with, you need to deal with that right up front. You know, if it was a misunderstanding, you need to clarify what you think happened and how sorry it is that the two of you lost a relationship or a friendship that was developing. That would be my suggestion to you. If you do try and contact him, and I think you should, this says that it's okay to do so, that it's a good thing, that it may be a relationship for you. If you decide to contact him, plan a little bit in advance what you're going to say. Think about what it is that happened and what you know inside went wrong. And that's what you want to discuss, overcome, and kind of start fresh with a friendship. Well, the card here, the reversed Ace of Wands, that represents you, how you feel about yourself and your lifestyle, and where your life is going. The Ace of Wands is it's like a new venture for you. It means that you like new things, you like change, you do have a stationary kind of life, and there's a lot of people who don't like change. It's the small things that add up that you like as far as change. Something new here, something new there. Try this, go here, buy something different, see something different, take a vacation, that sort of thing. Small things add up to a joy in your heart. You don't require big things to make you happy. So you may be a person who, for instance, moves furniture around occasionally, reorganizes and just changes the look. You put things in a different place and make it all look fresh that way, and that's good for you. That's the kind of change that you like, and it brings a newness into your life. Whenever you don't do that, you're the kind of personality who would feel stale. In fact, it might even make you feel a little bit depressed. That's an odd way to put it, but the freshness uplifts you, and change uplifts you in small amounts, small doses. Occasionally a big change, but for the most part, big changes can be stressful. But from what I can see here, your lifestyle and the way you're living, you're very happy, okay? You don't really want for anything. Now the card that is the Seven of Staffs, that represents how people see you and interact with you. The Seven of Staffs is a successful appreciation. They see you as being sometimes maybe pervasive. I don't know if that's a good word for it. You are there a lot. You're there for them. You're there when they need you. They appreciate that about you. You're honorable. You're honest. You're open to your friends who are close to you, and what they give you, you give in return. So even though you have a shyness inside, when you do open up, you make great relationships. You might be more of a person who's has a few friends and a lot of acquaintances, but your friends are the ones that you would do anything for. And in return, they would do anything for you. So you have solid friendships. But you do know a lot of people, and you don't have problems meeting with people or making new acquaintances. You have a close circle of friends, and the family that you have loves you dearly, and you love them too. And there might be one or two in there that are a problem for you, and I think that might be a past problem that hasn't been overcome, and you can work that out. Your goal card, which it's an obvious goal card, is the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is you'd like the good fortune of the relationship that you've lost to come back. For you, that would be ideal. You actually had thought about that during the time you were together, dreamed, had hopes. You saw this person in your future and how you could work together, live together, make a good relationship, that sort of thing. So for you, that would be ideal, because this person apparently felt like maybe the one. It was a big disappointment for you when this didn't work out and caused you a great deal of confusion, because you had such a positive dream about this. It felt right until it didn't. And when it didn't, it was, what happened? Why? What caused this? Why did it falter the way it did? It ended badly, and why was that? These things have gone around and around and around in your mind, and how you could fix that, how you could make it better, what would happen if you did. That's what that goal card says for you, is that there are steps, if you take them, you think that would be the outcome for you that would be great. So of course your goal card is to bring this relationship back and have it be a positive thing, and that could happen. The outcome card, which is the Hierophant, that talks of being conservative in your approach, of kindness, and using the wisdom of your experiences and what we've discussed here, using that wisdom to choose what you say and choose what you do in this relationship so that you don't falter again, because you can be the guide in this. When I mentioned the person had boundaries that you probably overstepped, this person probably had more than one bad experience themselves, as you did, a severely influential relationship that ended badly in the past. So the two of you have the same experience and the same reaction over whatever it was that happened between you. But the Hierophant indicates that your kindness of heart, your honesty, your ability to reach out to this person and make it right could have the outcome that you would like to have, that you would hope to have. And it's a good sign. It's a spiritual sign. It's a sign that says following along this path, making the right choices, gets you what you want in the long run. So the Hierophant is another positive way of telling you that if you take the conservative route, if you're careful, if you don't react, overreact, or be dramatic, and instead show your kindness, your thoughtfulness, your true feelings don't have to come out all at one time. They can come out gradually over time so that you don't overwhelm a relationship that needs to grow, that needs to start fresh, and move the steps necessary so that you get to a point to where there's trust and mutual agreements along the way. It should not be a relationship that's one-sided. Equality is going to work for you. And it'll work for this person that you had the relationship with too. That was one of the attractions that you had. However, there was a point where there was an imbalance. So what I would say to you is this relationship could happen. Looking at your cards, there's every reason to believe that it would be a positive thing for you to move forward, not a problem, as long as you take conservative steps, you don't overreact, and you're open and honest in everything with this person without pushing. So I truly hope this helps you. I think that this is going to work out for you. The cards say that the fact that you want to take the first step is okay. So do that and take it easy, and hopefully the outcome will be exactly what you're hoping for. I wish you all the luck. And thanks.